Okay. We, my friends, are beginning Endwalker today. We have new thumbnail style. We have new job that we're working with. We're still a tank, but it's a different job than what I've been playing, and obviously it is Gunbreaker. So, forgot to do this. Uh, um, where is my download folder? There we go. Alright, so gotta watch the title, right? It's been a minute since I've actually listened to Footfalls or even watched this video here. Because, you know, I always try to keep myself, like, a little distracted from certain songs or moments in the expansion I'm about to go into. There's only one song from Endwalker I've allowed myself to listen to in, like, the past 2 months, and it's for one of the raids. Because, like, I don't feel like that's, like, main moment content. It's more of a cover than the actual song, so it's like... Or, I guess it's the Primal singing it over hearing the in-game version, because the Primal song is fire.
The fabric of the star had begun to fray, its land rent by tooth and claw.
Remember how hyped I was the first time I saw this, because I was so excited for Sage.
Are you alright?
I can look after myself, you know. And I've had enough of this rabble. Come on!
As the chaos spread, the star seemed doomed to unravel. And yet,
Slowing the OBS audio, because it was almost hitting red.
there were those who stood in defiance of that fate. The hour has come, creature. It's all or nothing.
Why is the Stormblood part go so hard?
The stage is set, but will our hero deign to play their part? You took your time. 'Tis as we feared. The respite afforded this land was but fleeting. The end draweth nigh.
While the world is lost to ruin.
It would. Come what may, we shall live on. We must.
Do as you must. Then.
I even noticed the part where Tural is cut
until
off
the
on my
heavens
map.
fall, until our last breath.
Oh, I love him as a Reaper so much. And in like 6 months, we'll be watching the Dawntrail trailer again. Ignore the fact that I am currently a tank and that I'm going to be in where am I going to be spawning? I say currently a tank. I meant to say currently a warrior. Where am I going to be spawning? I'm going to be in Eorzea, I believe. Because I tried doing some more of the raids last night, and I got the last one. I still haven't seen a tank or top offending drop. Ba-da ba ba-da do boop ba-doop boop ba-doop ba-ba-doo ba-doop ba-ba-doo ba-doop ba-doo 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 boop ba-doo. Gotta be a gun breaker. Me over to Mordona. I would really like to be there. I'll get my armor all fixed up in a bit when I am in a town here. There we go. Now I have my outfit. Now this isn't exactly the fit that I wanted, but it is the one that we will accept. So pardon me, I don't know if that burp actually came through or not. I have a Sprite off to the side, which is like one of the first things I'm drinking today. Hello, my boy Raha. How are you doing? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Me number 8. Tatru number 9. And Kryl number 10. Next ship to sail. Let's do this really quick. So this is quest 1 of $108. Alright, so level 80 to 81 has 23 quests. As you can see, I'm very fresh level 80. Little, do you have some time to talk? I would like to gather everyone in the Dawn's Respite and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. We didn't get vocalized off the bat? Or not. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began when with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in multiple locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as the Telophoroi. The Telophoroi stated purpose is to recreate the final days of eons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Already we have these towers of theirs been the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, and the faith perverted for primal summonings. And it's, let's see, 9, 18, 21 before our first dungeon, which actually isn't too bad. That'd be like, maybe Wednesday, maybe Monday. And unless we can find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't, well, even get close enough to rescue anyone. Those shielded with the blessing of light seem able to resist being tempered, at least. But after what happened to Arenvald and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yeah. Yet, while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Garlemald. As you know, the Telophoroi are under the leadership of Fandaniel and one other delightful fellow, Xenos Ye Galvis, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Garlemald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. There we go. Now I have the voice again. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that was since changed, and in a troubling way. During our reconnaissance, the air was not once rent by the barking of cannons, or the cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket the ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with narier words spoken did they labor to transform the palace into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events, too, were orchestrated by the Telophoroi. An army of primals is awful enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it is only the prelude to an even greater catastrophe. I know how to read. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way into Sharlayan, I am sure of it. Master Foshino's comments regarding the final days was curious to say the least. The Forum knows more than it's letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We've just received word from Mistress Kryl. She says that the arrangements for your visit have been finalized. You're to head to Limsa Laminsia and board the next ship bound for Sharlayan. And on arrival, present yourselves as associates of the students of Baldessian. Come to assist in with the Order's restoration.
The arrangements may be settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home after so long.
I am eager to see it, of course. Of course. We should set off at once. Been a minute since I had to do everyone's voice. We'll get back into the flow of them. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Go, my boy. Bum, 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 bum.
Do 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 do. Heading to Limsa, we shall go on. May way.
You're a good-looking. Nope, wrong lady. Oh, there she is, quite literally inside him. Oh, nice Ash Ketchum outfit.
Ah, yes, for the warrior.
See, I just wanted this job so badly. Oh, well, it's not that one specifically, but this is the top that I'm aiming to get, basically, but in the tank version. Boing. Bum 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 ba da bum 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 ba da da dum dum. Everyone's here, which is good, because I've already paid for your passage, and the fee is non-refundable. Pardon me. Oh, my favorite scion, Y'shtola Alphinode. What a great title. The ship for Sharlayan should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule. Also, I'm
Schedule. Not schedule, but schedule.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Very unusual spot you find yourself in,
Aye.
my boy.
'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. Thou hast matured much in the intervening years. Wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a tale I'd like to hear.
The little thief that he is.
Will this be your first visit to Sharlayan, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd
Estinian
rather you
understandable.
dispense with the sirs, especially in private company,
Just call him Estinian, bud. You're friends.
or I'll be forced to respond in kind. Little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Well, I'll talk through.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just... we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And, once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
Don't worry, we're not gonna die yet. I'll bring them back safe and sound, I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori Boulder.
Hori! Kultine! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye. We, your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn, will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
That's my boy.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Sharlayan!
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey, and please, please, be careful.
I'll be as careful as I can be.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent. And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
North towards Charlie and we go. Bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser.
No, I heard Sky Mommy in my ear.
Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt.
That Rugadin's kinda hot.
Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
Understood. Oh, stranger.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad. Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
It's my now, Hydaelyn. Love that it answers is playing slowly.
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Hydaelyn has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid. Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine.
A crossroad at our destiny's path, perhaps.
Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks. Sharlayan's just over yonder.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
Oh, what a fine morning. Oh, still a bit stiff though.
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go. Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
With how excited they are to go back home.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Sharlayan.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian saith. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Sharlayan proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
The moon.
There we go. And then also let me grab that. Had to get the skyline before Endwalker popped up, so I have something for
Charlian,
thumbnail tomorrow.
the solitary island nation of the northern seas. Where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Alamegan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
The northern empty. Old Charlian.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Charlian all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Charlian only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders, especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Charlian's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration.
Yes, ma'am.
Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we?
I haven't been here in a couple hundred years, but things seem about the same. Hello, fellow Lala. How are
Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
I see 3.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny.
Well, we're not here for pops.
And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
Oh?
We shall keep that in mind.
Why are times troubled for you guys?
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Hi, warrior of light, comma frog, comma little. How you doing?
Name and occupation?
Pardon me. A frog, adventurer by trade, bodyguard by designation.
An adventurer. Well, I suppose that is considered a valid calling in your native Eorzea, and it does indeed match the profile provided. You may enter. And you, sir?
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formerly, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
Ladies' man. I don't know. What is his profession now?
If you'll allow me...
Croyle.
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I can show you a severe misstep.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle, it is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you all seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
All right, 50 minutes in, and we actually, you know, finished a quest. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born, bureaucrats. Haha, I got the word, don't worry. And sticklers for detail. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. I need to sell so much stuff. I'm assuming this isn't voiced. I had thought to launch directly into explanation of what I've learned and how we might proceed. But this is Little Anastaean's first time in Hydaelyn, and for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you may all have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldessian Annex. How does that sound? 'Tis a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Levier estate as such, but I should like to knows about the neighborhood all the same. I am equally untethered, as it were. There are no particular places that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up an opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city.
Likewise. A tour of our old haunts may even yield some useful gossip.
The annex was west of the Ether Plaza, right? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there.
I too have places I would remiss in not visiting forthwith by leave.
I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith by thy leave. Oh god, I'm so like heartbroken already for his scene. And what of you, Estinian? My services as your guide are yours for the asking.
That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me.
But I could... Oh. Okay. Don't worry, I have my two favorites beside me. My wife and my husband. But mainly my wife. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to refresh those dusty old memories of yours.
Oh, of course, if you will have me. Come, little. Hydaelyn awaits.
Bum, 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 bum. Old Hydaelyn, new to you.
After you, my friend. I am more than content to follow your lead.
Raha is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side to proceed with the quest objectives. In the event to use an aetherite, Grahatier will catch up to you so long as you remain within the same area. You can leave Grahatier behind, however. By entering a different area, you may also speak with him and select the option to part ways. If you wish to have Grahatier accompany you again, return to speak with him at the original location. While Grahatier is accompanying you, you next try speaking to Kryl. All set. Then let us be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be the last stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbor. Kryl is also accompanying you. Lead your two companions to the last stand and speak with Kryl at the designated locations. While you are accompanied, you may enter conversation points along the way which offer additional topics of discussion. Entering the glowing area and speak with your quest companions to initiate their bonus conversations. Enjoy your exploring and surroundings together. Alright, I want to get this first. Them well. Are you, what are you? You're an archer, but that headpiece makes me want to say summoner. Okay. Bow, ba down, bow, 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 bow. Discuss the storage facility. With all the unusual wares coming and going at all hours, I expect the assistance of an intrepid adventurer would be highly appreciated. I see no reason why you couldn't undertake any task which pique your interest. You have been cleared by immigration officials after all. I look forward to the day your name is celebrated in Charlotte the same way it is in Eorzea. This place is called the Pristyle, and it is the first shop for cargo unloading at the docks.
Oh, look at the little guy. The little cactus. Little cactus. Little sabu tender.
You'll find the usual necessities for daily living and other imports vital to running an island nation, but also supplies that further Charlene's pursuit of knowledge, namely large quantities of books, specimens, and samples. Sorting these stacks certainly seems to be keeping the attendants busy. See, I never actually did these like little moments of quests. Or like these little moments of like talking. The path leading out towards the sea is known as Thaliac Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Charlene people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thaliac was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism than belief, and alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honored him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ishgardians. Individual Charlians can and do worship the divinities of their choosing. Now that is a sight one could hardly forget, the great statue of Thaliac. As a student of Baldessian, I was usually quartered on the Isle of Val, but I would gaze upon the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. But I am a eepy boy today. Dick on. Kyle, please don't be in Graha. And here we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into nutrition and foods is quite extensive, the average Charlian tends to regard seasoning and flavor with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is, it's bland. As encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf, the prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is dietary value at first and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's inspired meals no longer, so he quit his lesson and poured all his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is the name, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Charlian. The one and only bastion of culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare.
It seems, I seem to recall the burger being hailed as one of the more impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself.
Because you were a typical Charlian when it came to cheap and convenient, Raha. But surely Tartaru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when the time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press on? The stairs, to the side of the cafe there will take us to the Aetheryte Plaza. Oh god, my yawns, like I'm relatively awake mentally, it's just physically that I always have a bigger issue with. So, you know, one does have its issue. I have issues. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, that it's perfectly functional aetheryte. Remember to attune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention that the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza, is very much vaunted. Its very much vaunted discoveries are the reason Charlian stands as the forefront in teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of Allegan Aetherites, it allows us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go on to our next destination, the path that leads northeast to the Agora, Charlian's largest marketplace. Bum 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, that is the entrance to the Confluence. I have no doubt their expertise will prove useful at some point, so I suggest you remember the way here. Speaking of Aetherites, those teleportation fees do add up after a while, which is why I tend to rely on far cheaper ferry service. I was pleasantly surprised when Mistress Tartaru informed me that the Scions are reimbursed for transportation costs as part of our duties, but I find old habits are hard to break. That, and I'd rather not be bothered filling out the necessary paperwork. Dun, dun, dun. And this is like the quietest I've ever seen Charlian. Do you mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment? How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like. But we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return later then. The little open-air bookstalls are uniquely Charlian. I'd always thought them common sight until I visited other nations. Yeah, I mean, that would be amazing. I would love to just see, like, stands like this a little more frequently, IRL. Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Charlian as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up on your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? On a most serious note, the next stop on our tour, which has particular relevance to our ultimate purpose here. We must head back to the Aetheryte Plaza and follow north, then climb the stairs up to that imposing building at the very top. You know what? Let me be smart.
Hello, sir. Please mend everything. Thank you. there's gonna be someone over here in the future, which I will be very good friends with because they will have some stuff that I want. Aw. Boing. Bum, bum, bum. There are bits of story that I potentially skipped over while going through this for the first time. But not this time around. Those little decorative features are typical of Sharlayan architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Via Laval were rather simple and rustic by comparison. This is the Nymphaeum, an area dedicated to the blessing of water. For Sharlayans, water represents more than life-sustaining liquid. It's a reminder of the great flood which precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of knowledge that which flows from Thaliac's divine Ewa. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, and a propensity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in our architecture. Fair. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, dun. Do, 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 do. Before they put me in a cutscene, let me grab this here. With joy. Da, da, da. Bum, bum, bum. Dun, 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 dun. This grand structure before you is the rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orientations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into a council chambers, the nature of the forum and its duties and its members remains largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here, one can see an entire city spread out below. The vista put me in the mind of my arrival in the first. Those who had gathered at the Crystal Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Sharlayan. Bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community. The Crystarium, I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the councillors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, the tour must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with the fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs and to the east and continue straight ahead. Bum 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 ba dum ba dum da bum bum bum. Do ba ba do ba. Bum bum ba bum bum. Ba da ba ba da ba do ba ba da. The Levier estate. You've arrived at Journey's End. History tells us that this was where those who were put ashore by Archon Nyunkref built their first homes. In the present day, it serves as a residential district for the most important officials and the oldest Sharlayan families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbors. That estate belongs to our friends from House Levier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our Sharlayan tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way back, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbour and cross the bridge to our right, and then follow the plaza below to the Aetheryte Plaza? Correct. After you, little. Well, we will go there once I grab these, I mean, at minimum, I'm gonna have to get the Studium very last. Sinking deeper and deeper in your bum, 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 bum. Charlene is full of educational and research institutions, but there are still professors who prefer to establish their own private practices. Not that I'll ever attend the exclusive schools they run in these residences. Perhaps the twins could tell you more about them. Right. We cross the bridge here, as I recall. Stick to the path, and careful not to end up back at the Aetheryte Plaza. I think, yeah, I have everything but the Baldassian Annex and Studium unlocked at the moment. Dun, 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 dun. As a joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldassian Annex. If you continue up the hill, you will arrive at the doorsteps of Phenomenon, but I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. Inside with you, then. Oh, I love the music here. I'm back, and I've brought Little and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship, then. Hello, Raha. Nice to see you again. And a pleasure to finally meet you, Little. I've heard many tales of your exploits. Ojika, Sunjika, it has been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika Sunjika, administrator for the students of Baldassian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. The champion of Eorzea, feature prominently in Kryle and Graha's reports for me. This is akin to seeing a fabled hero come to life. It is an honor to make your acquaintance. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlian. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. The annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members. Yeah, lodgings, I was right. Like a lodge, lounging. I got a smudge on my glasses. I got the smudge off my glasses. While we were engaged in such activities. Ever since our former headquarters, along with the isle itself, vanished, the annex has served as our base for operations. And yet it feels so empty, with so many lost to us. Our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure the Telophoroi fall. Though the door on the left there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that is, you'll probably have time to rest before our discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andron, so please, feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap rooms. Perfect for an afternoon doze. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed. Far more than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. 'Twas simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks, and thus became known to the students as nap rooms, even if such naps might last well into the following morning. Say the word, and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be long in coming. I'll wait for you all in the main hall.
Oh, we got ourselves a little warrior light here, huh? Alright, I want to go get the thing now. Which, they'll make me have to do it again later. But this is to save future me by wasting current me's time.
You tune yourself to the ether, right?
Bum 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 bum. Hello, Cryo.
Feeling refreshed and alert? Our colleagues should be... Oh.
There we go. I fixed it.
Our colleagues should be wandering in soon, so I suggest we stay here and then wait for them to join us.
Pray forgive me. I was delayed.
It's fine, Eorzea. We're all here now.
Let's get down to business then, shall we? Come what may, we must prevent the Telophoroi's plans from coming to fruition. At present, I see two paths for gathering the information which may aid us in achieving that goal. The first involves an investigation into the change which has come over Hydaelyn, not to mention the recent inscrutable behavior of the Forum. As most of you know, the 99 members of the Forum are elected from the general populace. This alone guarantees a plethora of opinion with regards to foreign
Endwalker some of my
policy.
favorite music. Especially for ambiance.
The
It's just
bibliotheques,
perfect.
for example, are a group of conservatives which would have Hydaelyn focus on recording history, while remaining entirely uninvolved in the making of it. And at the other extreme, we have advocates for proactive diplomacy and direct intervention. My grandfather Galef was one such member, as was Archon Louisois. Yet despite our diverse factions and philosophies, the recent vote to deny Eorzea's request for assistance was unanimous. Even more concerning was the fact that many cited other, more pressing duties as justification for their recalcitrance.
Fortuno's refusal in Gridania had those same undertones. 'Twas as if, having stared unblinking into the face of impending doom, he had simply turned away to pursue something more important. But what could that possibly be?
A mystery indeed, and one which I ask for your help to solve. Our future may depend on it. As for our second potential path, it concerns a request made directly to the students of Baldessian. Our organization was founded primarily to study strange and unexplained phenomena the world over. Mysterious relics and ruins, arcane disturbances, and so forth. Compared to our more isolationist Sharlayan colleagues, we have strong connections overseas, namely with scholars and academics who share our passion for the unknown. The request in question comes from one such acquaintance, Nadana, an alchemist residing in distant Thavnair. Her missive describes the sudden appearance of a tower, and the subsequent summoning of what I can only assume is a lunar primal.
Zod.
In response to this threat, the satrap of Radzat-Han, the individual who governs the city-state, has instructed the alchemists to find a means to deal with the spire.
The artisans of that land are heirs to an ancient tradition, one rather unlike that of their Uldan counterparts. 'Tis possible, nay, probable, that they have gleaned truths unattainable by Eorzea or her Far Eastern allies.
They do, in fact, appear to have a strategy in mind, though it will require further research. To that end, they have requested an introduction to a capable warrior shielded by the blessing of light.
Assuming we divide our forces to pursue both of Kral's lines of inquiry, then having you join the group heading to Thavnair would seem the obvious choice.
Betty Spaghetti.
But the investigation in Sharlayan is of vital importance as well. Equal, I think, to the Thavnairian one, given that the fate of the world may hinge on the results of both.
Yes, it is quite the quandary. Though it is a great imposition and an altogether too common one, our efforts would be more likely to succeed were you to lead the charge on both fronts. You are indeed our champion. As to which task to tackle first, we will defer to your decision. Let us next decide how everyone else might best be assigned. As for myself, I shall continue what I've begun in Sharlayan. I should also like to steal the services of an Archon or two.
And thereby gain access to a greater range of reading material. I will help with that.
Allow me to offer my assistance. I have some small amount of experience in the field of research.
Valid.
Alize and I would also like to help, if you would have us.
Anything to understand even a fraction of what our father and the Forum might be thinking.
Of course, the more the merrier.
Right. The rest of us will make the journey to Thavnair. Thoughts? Objections?
I passed through Thavnair on my way to infiltrate the Empire, and though I'm not qualified to give a guided tour, I did gain a sense of where things lie.
Thank you, because we are
I'll be happy to have you along then.
So for this group, it will be you, me, and Urianger.
Give me a moment afterwards, and I'll supply you with all the details of Nadana's request. Consider this hall our rendezvous point once our respective tasks are complete. May our investigations prove fruitful.
Ba, 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 dun, dun, dun. Bam, 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 bam. Well, item level's my sword. 530. Oh, interesting. Alright. So, we can either do the Sharlayan quests or the Thavnir quests. Now, I wouldn't mind doing the Sharlayan quest first. Because why not, right? I think it's 9 for Sharlayan and 9 for Thavnir. So, that should be fun. An unsettling change has overcome Sharlayan, but together, we will divine the underlying cause for the Forum's callousness. As I mentioned before, however, questioning the councillors directly is a fruitless endeavor. They seem to have already come to a consensus as to what and how little they are willing to divulge. Which is why I began scouring Sharlayan's archive of historical records for a hint of a connection to the final days. Suffice it to say that that progress has been slow. There are only so many dusty pages one can skim in a day. But now that I have this band of willing reinforcements, this should proceed all the swifter. Let's reconvene outside the Numenon, shall we? Exit the annex to the right, and you'll find the archives on the western edge of the woods. Yeah. Bum bum bum. I need a drink. Oh wait, I've already seen yours. I mean, neither of these are that close, so... I guess this is closer. Going from here. My directions were easy enough to follow, I hope. In any case, you stand now, but before the doors of Numenon. Sharlayan's grandest collection of books and tomes. This building is actually only an entrance, one of many at that, for the archives of Numenon extend deep beneath the surface of, like the roots of a tree. The vast halls of the Great Gabu Library pale in comparison to the Numenon's endless maze of subterranean chambers. Any citizen of Sharlayan is free to enter and peruse its shelves. Well, most of its shelves. Only Archons can be afforded to certain restricted vaults. I dispatched Ishtol and Raha to those. Meanwhile, Alize and Alfino help me continue my search of the stacks, open to the general public. Your status presents more of a problem. As a non-citizen, you are only permitted to browse the first floor here at the entrance. Even so, there should be a number of books which touch upon Sharlayan's history or foreign policy. Your task will be to find and study the relevant publications. I promise you, a working knowledge of those subjects will make it far easier to spot the sort of clues we're looking for. Let us be about it, shall we? I've told the others to meet us at the stone benches over there once they found some promising tomes. Happy reading! Yes, ma'am. Actually, you know, it's funny. I actually don't know which outfit I want. I feel like this is more appropriate to be in Sharlayan. So we're going to go here. There. This is still one of my favorite pictures that I've had. Alright. Let's see. Brightly colored book. The story of Sharlayan. Long, long ago, on an island in the northern sea, there lived a Rugadin man by the name of Nyunkref. Nyunkref was a student of astrology, and he divined that a flood of terrifying proportions would soon sweep over the lands of Eorzea. So it was that he built a gigantic ship, assembled a crew, and set sail for that imperial realm. The flood arrived as foretold, and to their horror and strangely churning waters, the strangely churning waters drove the people towards the ocean. It was there, however, that Nyunkref's crew hauled them on board his ark, but the dangers had not passed. A towering wave approached, threatening to smash the vessel to pieces. With only a moment to spare, Nyunkref wove a mighty spell of teleportation and shifted the entire ship to the safety atop Abathia's spine. Refugees from the surrounding regions huddled there alongside them, but it was not long before disputes over dwindling supplies of food led to violence and bloodshed. Saddened by the sight, Nyunkref gathered to him his crew and his grateful passengers, and abandoned the ark to those reddened peaks. They journeyed past the coast where they built a new ship, intent upon returning to the northern sea. They landed on a beach of an island and settled upon that very spot. That settlement prospered and grew, and in time became the city of Sharlayan we live to this day. Many years ago, on the banks of Thaliak, in the Dravinian hinterlands, a Sharlayan colony once thrived. This settlement was originally established as a mere outpost to study the ethereal sea in the year 1311 of the 6th Astral Era. Scholars dispatched to Eorzea found the facilities wanting, and the demands encouraged a gradual expansion in structures and services. As rumors spread of a growing community of academics, the area, which further inundated with Eorzean students, hoping to share in the renowned wisdom of the Sharlayans. 50 years later, the Forum passed a motion to recognize what had become the flourishing town as an official Sharlayan colony. Eorzean residents took into calling the colony itself Sharlayan, which led to no small amount of confusion when discussions turned to the subject of the motherland. In response, some Sharlayan inhabitants, if pressed for a name, would simply refer to it as the Emporium. Following the Exodus, however, goblins and treasure hunters claimed for themselves a colony of abandoned, corner of the abandoned colony, and gave it another name, Hydaelyn. The following chapters go to introduce that the most prominent features of Hydaelyn. The book does not appear to contain additional information on the Forum, or cover the history of Sharlayan Motherland in greater detail. I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything so far. Hello, little weird robot thing. You're so cute. The voice of a growing city. In the years which followed the founding of Sharlayan, civic policy and other matters of import were decided at the Ecclesia, a public forum at which every citizen was eligible to speak. The city, as the city's population grew, however, the format became increasingly impractical. A larger number of participants gave rise to an even longer debate, resulting in significant delays of vital resolutions. Various measures were introduced in an attempt to curtail protracted discussions. In the year 201 of the 6th Astral Era, it was ultimately decreed that Sharlayan would transition into a new form of governance. The nation would be allowed, or be now led by a body of 99 members, citizens chosen amongst their peers by means of a nationwide vote. Thus was the Forum as we know it today conceived and created. I'm liking the lore. Can I get this outfit, please? Have you ever gazed at the skies above and contemplated the mysteries contained therein? I speak not of shifting cloud patterns, but of the vastness beyond, of the sun and the twinkling tapestry of the night. Some think the dome above us to be a finite space, yet amongst the leading thinkers of our age, one scholar's depiction of a boundless sea of stars has firmly taken root. Alas, this heavenly sea remains an unreachable, unknowable destination. There are few indeed who can explain in satisfactory detail why our own star is believed to revolve around the sun. It is the technologists of Alec who came close to understanding the laws which govern that starry abyss. It was they who launched Dalmud and sought to expand beyond our earthbound existence. Having read their ancient ambitions, I wonder, has your interest in this field of study waxed or waned? What if I were to tell you that the eternal constellations were arranged differently in the past, that their positions continue to shift almost imperceptibly, but measurably as we journey into the future? Would it shock you to learn that the stars drifted further and further apart, and may indeed do so forever? Are you eager to learn more? This book is on the wrong subject. Search for works containing details on the forum or mention histories of Sharlayan. Yeah, well, I'm interested in reading these books, as some of these are really nice. Forever 20 Summers. My beloved seekers of knowledge, have you ever put learning before your health, and neglected to feed and rest your body as you should? I, too, once engaged in such foolish practices, but one night, engrossed in philosophical study, I had an epiphany. For all the world's mysteries that drive us to reckless abandon, we have so very few years in life which to achieve our goals. Thus I do share with you this mantra: I forever 20 summers young. The number itself is unimportant. You could even be 19 or 23 or 40, whatever age you are when you discover this mantra. Let that be the age you inspire to remain. Through mindful, healthy living, will you extend the time above to spend upon your chosen research? Another day, another moon, another summer to grasp the greater truths you pursue. In the pages that follow, we will explore the secrets maintaining one's physical condition from biological, ethereological, and arcane viewpoints. This book is on the wrong subject. I am forever 24 summers young. During the chaos of the 6th Umbral Calamity, Archon Nyungkrep, founder of Sharlayan, bore witness to the madness and savagery of men brought to the brink of despair. Upon raising a settlement on an island of the Northern Empty, he instructed his people thus: renounce the ways of war and pursue enlightenment through knowledge and reason. The Sharlayans took to heart those words on their savior, and thenceforth served as stewards of wisdom. Upon a foundation of accumulated learning, they built a homeland unlike any other nation. A nation born from the strength of minds rather than the strength of arms. With knowledge of economics came shrewd trading. With knowledge of agriculture came bountiful crops. Engineering brought wells and sewers, ending squabbles over war. Wealth and expertise could be bartered for wealth in coin. And the more their wisdom spread throughout the world, the more mankind as a whole would thrive. And so it was that no matter the trials and tribulations of the age, the citizens of Sharlayan would live by their founder's teaching. For the sake of a better tomorrow, for the sake of a brighter star, they would eschew the tools of war and with knowledge deliver the world. You've gained a fundamental understanding of Sharlayan history and the foundation of the Forum. Head outside to the rendezvous point and await your companions. We have one more to read. Dun, 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 I believe this will Alright. Time to restart the game. For I don't want audio issues. I need to find a quest really quickly. Oh, that's not the right gear set. I
don't remember what this gear that I'm looking for is actually called. I just remember it's a level 80. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 dun, 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 dun. Oh, do you only get that off? Um. No, I think I should be able to get it otherwise. I'll have some work I'll have to do to get that top that I want, but it looks good.
Sorry, were you waiting long? I wanted to make sure I borrowed at least a few promising volumes. Alfino and Cryle should be along shortly. I was delayed in a similar fashion. As far as I could see, no titles of Archons stacks mentioned the final day specifically, so we have no choice but to start with the tangentially relevant tomes, if they are even that. At the present, we plan to skim through as quickly as we dare, and share our discoveries as we make them. It would be nice to invite everyone to the estate, plenty of comfortable places to read, and ready a supply of hot tea. Oh, I was quite fond of reading outside. But it is not about the little, it's not about the little pleasures, is it? You miss your home. It's been difficult after our arrival. We managed to speak with one of the family's servants after and ask how things were. It seems our dear father has instructed the staff that even if Alfino and I were to return to Sharlayan, we are not allowed to cross the threshold. A harsh measure, indeed. I hope that our efforts to understand his position on that of the Forum will perhaps lead to a reconciliation. Well, we'll mend this rift one day, I'm certain of it. And what of you, Graha? Have you been to visit your family, or do they not live here in the city? Ah, well, my situation is somewhat complicated. I was raised in Sharlayan, yes, but I was born rather further away. The southern reaches of Ilzabad, in fact. For generations, my people have dwelled in Corvos, a coastal region opposite of the island of Thavnir. The Alligans founded a city in that fertile land, and by ship brought in the subjugated tribes of Mikote to serve as laborers. Of course, the massive earthquakes of the Fourth Umbral Calamity brought an end to the Empire's reign, and when the Fifth Calamity froze the sea solid, many of the tribes still living in Corvos braved the journey back to Eorzea. My ancestors, however, chose to remain. Is this his Shadowbringer theme? Oh, it is. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 bum. My ancestors, however, chose to remain, that they might prevent the remnants of Allegan technology from being misused. Isn't Corvus under Garlean rule? For the past 50 years, yes. Some semblance of local culture remains, as is the case for most of the imperial provinces, but Garlemald renamed the region Locus Amonis. When I was a boy, a nearby town came under the jurisdiction of an illustrious imperial family, the noble house of Darnus. House Darnus demonstrated a singular interest in Allegan civilization, and so my tribe was forced to consider a plan of action. For some time already, voices had been raised in favor of abandoning our ancient customs. After all, the Allegan eye no longer passed down to our eldest children as reliably as it once had. Fear of discovery eventually tipped the scales, and the decision was made to bury our ties to the knowledge and traditions of Alleg. And as the last child born with the Allegan eye, I was given over to the custody of friends of the students of Baldessian, who had me registered as a Sharlayan citizen. I never even considered, forgive me, it was an unkind question. Even Thancred was taken in by Archon Louiswa, was he not? Stories of adopted wives and rescued orphans are more common among Sharlayans than you might think. Yet regardless of our origins, we are all provided with an equal opportunity to learn. And with that sufficient perspectancy, yeah, I guess that was how it's pronounced. We outsiders can even earn the title of Archon, the vaunted title of Archon. It is exactly why I have such a love for this country, and why I wish to remain a nation which its citizens can be proud of. Here. Another good reason to get to the bottom of the Forum's stubbornness, aside from the trifling matter of our Imperial Doom. Excuse us while we try to make some headway into these books a little. More company should be arriving any moment now. Alright, so apparently there's a Lala revolution happening in Limsa. So I would very much like to see how big of a revolution we are talking. Da, ba, 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 da, da. Check out the bench by the main Aetheryte, they say. Dun 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 in your dun 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 dun. I can't wait to see the lag of the Lala revolution. Let's go. Let's see all the Lalas we can. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. I love this little Lala revolution going on. There's so many. So this person here, Dragonius Delusions, I met randomly by petting in Gridania one day. I like that we all basically have the same sit emote on. Oh, that guy has one of the other shirts that I really want to get. Oh, yeah, you. But I can't do that, the farm, or the quest for this top, sadly, because I need some, progression into the Manderville quest, which I am not exactly at just yet, or have the want to do just yet. Let's see if I can get this. I need to send this in the Discord. There's what? How many Lalas here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 Lalas on the bench. What's gonna happen? Oh, somebody even put one of these on there. Ugh, it's so creepy. Alright, let's give Luna a pet. There you go, Luna. Let me up. Let me up, game. And let's give you a pet. Alright, off I go. We need to, you know, continue story.
There we go. Oh, I just noticed that Chris also, became a Lala again. Let's go. Wee woo, Lala sport. God, I know, he was gonna have some choice words to say about so many Lalas appearing in one zone. To say, place a bomb, blow them all up, or I'm gonna punt every single one of them like a soccer ball or a football. Or anything else you can punt. I don't know what else is really puntable. But please don't hurt the Lalas. I am your friendly neighborhood Lala after all. Honestly, this is just a cute fit on its own. But I like my hat. We've returned with our selections. Although I must say, the pickings were quite slim indeed. Mr. Squire has already flicked through every history book devoted to disasters, and more than a few which barely made mention of them. As such, we will be looking into research papers on the umbral calamities, as well as articles written by prominent forum members. Perhaps their knowledge on the final days comes from an unexpected source. Speaking of which, might I ask you a few questions related to the final days? I'm the only one here who didn't witness the events of Amarat firsthand, and I fear I may be overlooking crucial details. Ask away, baby. My thanks. Now, where to begin? First things first. What kind of phenomenon did the ancients encounter as the final days drew nigh? I believe a complete destabilization of creation magics. Yes, the unfolding catastrophe wrought havoc on all manners of life. The chaos extended to the ancients themselves, causing the powers of creation to spiral out of control. Fear and despair manifested terrible things. Tangible fashion, meteors raining from the sky, fires erupting from the ground, indescribable abominations prowling the streets. That's more or less aligned with my understandings. If only the art of creation had survived until the present day, we might have had something substantial to analyze. To the best of our knowledge, however, those techniques were not preserved or passed on. Ishla surmises that the closest known magic is that of the summoning rituals promulgated by the Asians. Was there aught else of note which herald the approach of the final days? Entire star was engulfed by disasters all at once? I mean, I don't fully remember. I should have said maybe Alfino. I think you may be misremembering. As I recall, 'twas more of a gradual spread. The Amarotites spoke of a keening. Oh yeah, it was a second one.
that rose from the land itself just before a region was visited by catastrophe. We never did hear the sound ourselves, of course. Thrust as we were into the midst of the madness. So the ground was crying out, you say? To be considered the harbingers of doom, it must be quite distinctive and probably quite loud. I'll have to speak with one of the Pneumonion mammoths and ask after any books which might make mention of such sound. Last but not least, would you describe how the actions of the ancients sought to quell this unprecedented calamity? What definitive actions did they take? They summoned Zodiark. Yes, with Elidibus serving as his heart, so many gave themselves in sacrifice to bring him into being. Wish them well. Sorry, the song's stuck in my head. We do not know exactly how Zodiark brought salvation to the star, only that his godlike will were the laws of nature set right. By his godlike will, the laws of nature set aright. Then, once the balance was redressed, the ancients offered up further sacrifice to heal the ravages of the final days. Lives sprouted anew, and it was these fledgling souls they intended to render unto Zodiark a trade, and would have allowed them to resurrect the shades of loved ones absorbed by the primals. Or might have, had Vinay and her fellows not manifested their opposition in the form of Hydaelyn. Thank you, both of you, for the detailed review. I feel much more confident now in my understanding of the events. With all that freshly in mind, it does make me wonder what the Telophoroi truly mean when they speak of bringing back the final days. We've seen what they are doing with the towers of theirs is forcing people to summon primals and some of the primals are kind of catalyst as they are attempting to mirror the conditions caused by the unstable creation magics? Potentially. Or are they simply using the final days as a figure of speech, convenient metaphors for the scale of destruction they plan to unleash? But this is all just pointless conjecture at this stage. Let us return to our attention to the forum, shall we? We should probably keep an eye out for Y'shtola, but this time we begin studying these research papers. I'm the last, am I? Well, my extended search of the Archon stacks procured one or two possibly useful books, but I wouldn't get your hopes up. If you recall, Eorzea learned of the Sorcerer's reflections from the Guran oracles. the Garan oracles, for its potential to cause panic and confusion. That tome was deemed apocrypha, and sealed away in the Great Gabu Library. 'Tis even less likely that the knowledge of the unsundered world, not to mention the horrors of the final days, would be left sitting on a shelf for any curious scholar to find. It stands to reason, then, that my colleagues, be they archons or counselors, should perforce be largely ignorant of the subject. Yet, when you confronted Master Faucheneau with knowledge of the Telophoroi and their machinations, he scoffed at the suggestion they posed a threat. He seemed adamant that the Forum would know if the final days were truly upon us. Which only supports my conclusion that whatever the privileged wisdom is guiding the Forum's behavior, it is being kept secret from the rest of the nation. Not that I mean to excuse myself from reading duty. Whether they contain mention of the final days or no, these books could yield something of value. You weren't thinking of leaving, were you? There's plenty of work for everyone. You labor what feels like an age as Ishtola's research assistant. Skullmold. Cryel. Oh dear, you look exhausted. But what about your studies? Were you able to find any books on the subject I mentioned? Yeah, a bit. And then the day was well spent. You should read them again. Mammoth at the... should you wish to read them again, the Mammoth at the reference desk will point you in the right direction. For the moment, though, I suggest you take a well-deserved rest. We might be occupied with our research for quite some time. Ready for a tea break, little? I know I am. Honestly, my neck and shoulders are going to calcify if I don't stretch my legs and walk around for a bit. You know the last stand down near the harbor, don't you? Come and meet me near the outside tables, and I'll treat you to their coffee. It's quite good. You got it, kid. Bum 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 bum. Ba-da-da-da-do, ba-da-dee-dee-dee, ba-da-bee-ba-boop, ba-ba-doo. I think after stream today, when I get food and I hop back on the computer, I will queue myself into Puppet's Bunker once more. See if I can continue trying to get the top that I want. And then use, like, the free time in between to watch YouTube or read manga or watch an anime or work on thumbnails, work on a schedule, paint my nails, so on, so forth, all that beautiful things and such. As busy as ever as I see. How very Sharlayan that no other gourmet cafe has sprung up to compete for customers.
Bum, 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 bum. Actually, this crowd gives me an idea. Before we place an order, why don't we ask a few questions and gauge the mood of the city? I'm interested to hear what the average citizen has to say about the Telophoroi. We might even learn something new. Worth a try, don't you think? Alize is now accompanying you. Keep her at your side in order to proceed with the quest objectives. You can leave Alize behind by entering a different area, or speaking with her and selecting the option to part ways. If you wish to have Alize accompany you again, return and speak with her at the original location.
What? Huh? What is it? Can a man not enjoy moments of private respite? If you're looking to share a table, then I respectfully request that you look elsewhere.
You misunderstood, sir. We're simply wondering if you knew of the Telophoroi. These enemies of peace have promised an end to all we hold dear and...
Wait, you're that Hydaelyn girl, aren't you? And this woman with you is obviously a foreigner. I'd heard you were disowned for helping outsiders indulge in their barbaric whims, and here you are giving truth to the rumor. I think you'll leave me be. I'll thank you to leave me be. I've naught to say to the likes of you.
Well, I must apologize. 'Twas foolish of me to expect an ounce of civility from one so enlightened. Come, little. Someone here at the cafe must be willing to speak with us. Let's look around. You bet. Yes, I don't believe I've had the pleasure. Pray excuse the interruption, but we were hoping you might share your thoughts on the Telophoroi and their unconscionable plans. My goodness, if it isn't the young Miss Leveilleur. My apologies, but I work at the office of the Forum, and if word reached Master Fortunato that I was helping you. I see. We're sorry to have bothered you. Hey, Dickon. Probably Daikon, but I prefer calling him Dickon.
Welcome, madam. What can I offer you today? Wait, is that Mistress Alize I see there? My word, how long has it been?
Far too long. This is Dickon, the owner of the Last Stand. I used to frequent this cafe on occasion, in between lessons at the studium.
It seems like an age ago now. I remember hearing you and Master Alfino set sail for Eorzea. But then you never came back.
Lately there's been gossip that your father disowned the pair of you. Everything alright at home? It's complicated. And I haven't expected complete strangers to be so familiar with our situation quite so quick. Everyone has an opinion, it seems.
Well, it is House Leveilleur. No matter how discreet Master Fortunato may have been, news of your family doing never stays secret for too long. Things being what they are, what brings you back to the city now, of all times?
We have questions, and only Hydaelyn has the answers. Tell me, Master Dickon, have you heard anything about an apocalypse called the Final Days?
What? Like the end of the world? Nothing like that, I'm afraid. And that's what you're here to find? Information on the apocalypse?
Yes. Whatever we can learn. Unfortunately, your patrons appear to be unwilling to speak with me.
I wish there was more I could do to help. But maybe there is. You're visitors to Hydaelyn, aren't you? Then few will know your face. We should be able to pass you off as a server with none the wiser. We just finished preparing a few orders, strike up some friendly conversations while you're setting down food, and you might just get the answers you're looking for. That's a bad idea. I hate to ask, but what do you think? I'd be honored. There's the spirit. Pay attention now. I'll explain where each of these dishes go. The T is for the chatty group sitting by the water's edge. T for chatty people near water. The omelette is for one of our regulars, a Highlander by the name of Gisla. She's sitting at an outside table with a friend of hers. Alright. Omelette for a Thailander with a friend. Behind them, you should see a Makote gentleman. He ordered an oven-baked lobster. Got all that? If you're not sure, just ask and I'll explain again. Good luck. Cat wants fish. Thailander wants something, and oh, Thailander wants omelet. Oh, I have to do this in order. Here's the tea for you. Oh, my tea set. Lovely, thank you. Hey, wait, you look like I did. Except with different hair. But still. I look like that, but maybe 2 weeks ago, at most. The Talafa who? I'm sorry, I've never heard of them, or the final days. My friends and I are somewhat uninformed when it comes to current events. Now, if you want to hear about ritual arcane practices of the 6th Astral Era, or common or historic, then I'd be happy to talk your ear off. Fair. Ah, finally. 2468. Let's dig in. No time to waste. What? The Talafaroy? Ah, yes. I remember seeing the name in the latest gazette. That among some grand company of the day's end, or some grand claim of the day's end. Same old senseless warmongering. When will those fools grow tired of spilling each other's blood? Thought I heard something. I might go have to check it out. But I'm gonna finish this up really quick. Best stay out of it, I say. The Forum made the right choice, and I fully support our decision to remain neutral. At last, the oven-baked lobster is mine. You have no idea how long I've scrimped and saved and suffered to afford this heavenly dish. What's that? Oh, really? The final days? This is the first I've heard of it. Although that would explain why my friend has been rushed off his feet. Must be busy times to be a gleaner. You don't know what a gleaner is? They're collectors of sorts. Travel the world procuring things that we haven't got here in Charlian. Priceless books, unusual live specimens, and so forth. And so named for the folk who trail after the reapers in the field, picking up every grain of which was missed. By all accounts, gleaning is the most meticulous and demanding profession. If these Talafaroi make good for their audacious threats, then many uncatalogued rarities could be lost forever. Which is why the gleaners would be buzzing about such a frenzy. Watch that harbor and you'll see what I mean. They're carting loads in from the docks all day. It's never been this hectic before. Not like this. Alright. I will be right back. I need to just go check out what that sound was.
Alright. Gone for a little bit longer than I hoped, but had to check some stuff with the family. Get some stuff prepared for dinner. You know what I'm really in the mood to do tonight? Even though I want to get that top, I really want to start Honkai Star Rail. I'm just like slowly getting closer to being like, I want to begin playing that. I want to see if it's something feasible for me to stream in the future. But I just keep getting sidetracked and playing other things or watching something else. Any trouble with the customers? Were you able to get anyone talking? Interesting. They seem unaware of the final days, aside from whatever vague news the Gazette are printing. Even Daikon had nothing to offer. He has the best source of gossip in the city. And he's the best source of gossip in the city. If the Forum does have secret knowledge, then they've done an impressive job of ensuring no one whispers it in the wrong ear. In any case, I thank you for playing your part so well. Here, that cup of coffee I promised. Nom 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 nom. But let's enjoy our drinks elsewhere, shall we? Maybe behind the Pristyle, away from the gossip and waging tongues. Boing, 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 boing. Alright, the labyrinth thing. Alright, I think we'll do one more quest after this, and then that's where we'll call it for today. Admittedly, that would only be our 5th quest today, right? But we're an Endwalker, we're gonna have a lot of, like, a lot of everything popping up. A lot of reading, a lot of fights, a lot of voiced cutscenes, a lot of non-voiced cutscenes, a lot of back and forth. But I'm here for it. This honestly actually might be my favorite expansion. I don't know. I may be doing like a whole ranking system at the end of Endwalker's post-MSQ. And then when Dawntrail comes out and we're finished that and it's post-MSQ, it's snowing! I'll put it on the tier list as well and see where I feel it fits for me. Yes, this should do nicely. Out of the wind and out of sight.
When our father disowned us, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. It wasn't until much later that his words began to sink in, that I began to feel the weight of what it meant. Do you remember when the decision was made to come to Sharlayan? Graham said that the Forum was determined to keep us in the dark, and that Father's venomous performance was part of that strategy, to keep us at arm's length. Perhaps it was. Father argued with Grandfather on many occasions, but never with such dismissive contempt. And when he demanded what justifies the sacrifices we make in war, I honestly didn't know what to say. Neither did Alpha know, I know, but never for one moment did I believe we had made the wrong choice. So all I could do was fume silently. It was only afterwards that I realized how childish I had been. How being stubborn and self-righteous must run in the family. If I could have just mustered a civil response, then things might have turned out differently.
Maybe, but who are we to assume these things? I want to get the Gleaners fit so badly, but I have so much to do. Yeah, 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 so much to do.
They must be ferrying goods to Labyrinthos. A vast complex beneath the island. Hydaelyn is famous for archiving knowledge from around the world. Well, that knowledge is not preserved exclusively in dusty tomes and desiccated samples. Our living library, comprised of all manner of flora and fauna, is housed and studied within that underground facility. Still, that did seem to be an unusually large shipment. When I lived here, it was rare to even see such cargo transported by boat.
Things are happening.
Wait, didn't you hear something in the last stand about the Gleaners coming and going more than usual? Well, I think they're the ones we saw manning those boats. And Gleaners answer to the Forum.
Do they now?
If the appearance of the Telophoroi prompted this sudden burst of activity, then Labyrinthos may hold a clue as to what the Forum is planning.
Bum 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 bum. We should tell the others what we've learned about the Gleaners. Go on ahead to New Monon, and I'll join you in a moment. Aster Deccan will want his cups back. Dun 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 dun. Bada beep bop boop, bada boop bop beep, bada beep beep doop bop badoo. Babadoo babadi babadi bada babadoo babada babada. Speak with Cryel down at the Numonon. Numenon, probably. Oh, welcome back, little. Been out for a walk and cleared your head, have you? Not exactly, but we did some impromptu investigating and turned up information on the Gleaners. It makes sense. The Gleaners take their requests directly from the institutions and bureaucrat, but as you say, they ultimately answer to the Forum. A sudden and significant increase in Gleaner traffic and in cargo, it certainly gives the impression of an overarching plan being put into motion. Let us see what theory we can build from these facts. As Y'shtola observed earlier, Numenon's archives appear to contain no information concerning the final days. Coupled with what little Alize learned at the last stand, we can be reasonably sure that most Hydaelyans know nothing in particular of nothing that particular period of ancient history. Yet my father and his colleagues are not only familiar with the final days, but also somehow certain that the destruction being perpetrated by the Telophoroi is wholly unlike these apocalyptic events.
Moreover, the Forum claims to be so occupied on a duty of such pressing importance that they saw fit to unanimously deny Eorzea's request for aid. Now, the Gleaners, official agents of the state, have been mobilized on an unprecedented scale. I do not think it is a stretch to conclude that the Gleaners' recent activities in service to the Forum's secretive ends. In which case, our next course of action seems obvious. We visit Labyrinthos and assess the situation for ourselves. And if we're lucky, the Gleaners will be far more receptive to our questions. What should we... A fine idea, actually. You know what? I just accept it. I'm glad you approve. You won't be disappointed, I promise. As for myself, there are a few more subjects I should like to research. I may join you later, but feel free to leave behind your borrowed books and be on your way. I'll see to each one is returned to its proper place. That would be a great help. Thank you, Raha. Let's head downstairs. Let's head down the stairs over there, and I'll show you where the entrance is. This man is also here to talk with our friends. Ready? Labyrinthos is not too far from here, but you may need to find the path. You may find the path a bit disorientating. I'll take the lead, so stay close. Follow Alizane, don't fall behind. Off we go then. Pleasant to be walking around here, but we really should move along. It's so weird actually seeing this, like... Now we run, try to keep up. I got my sort of who wants to die. You know, I'll put that away actually. I don't think they would be pleasant. Or they would enjoy seeing a little, you know, little Lala just wielding a big ol' sword. Bum, 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 bum. That's also a Lala? Another bun boy. The rostra now not far. Hello there, little Lala, reading a book. How are you doing, you adorable little bean? Here we are. Through these doors and down those stairs. You did remember to attune to the shard back there, didn't you? It will make your life so much easier when you come back in a hurry. Otherwise, we should keep moving. I am attuned to everything, don't you worry, girl. Just had to make sure that my voice was coming through normally and not being broken up like a little robot savage. I sound like a Guardian right now. My bad. Like an Eorzean savage, there we go. It's a little bit more on brand. No, I'm kidding. Boing, boing, boing. We're all here now, yes? I've taken the liberty of securing permission for our group's descent. Right, everyone, onto the lift and down we go.
Deep beneath the scholar's city shines a false sun within a fabricated sky.
Oh, it's my boy.
In any age exist those who consider the floor an extension of their bookshelves, and this vault's architects surely belonged to that special breed. If the stack grows too high, start a new one. If no room remains, then make more rooms. A simple solution at first, and then bit by bit, a profound transformation. Knowledge, buried beneath knowledge, a growing, creeping labyrinth from which there is no escape.
Not what you expected. I must admit, the artifice is very convincing. But I assure you that we are beneath Sharlayan itself. The breeze you feel, the flowing waters you hear, all created by the hand of man.
The island is volcanic, you see, and once upon a time this great hollow must have been a reservoir for magma. It was discovered some 400 years ago, at which point it was repurposed as a storage facility for scrolls and samples and such. Renovations have continued, with nigh on no interruption to this day, with the lower levels still undergoing expansion.
Aren't those people gleaners?
Aye, judging by their dress. They are said to work alone as a rule, but 'twould seem that rule is being enthusiastically broken today. It may be as you suspected, that they are engaged in a task apart from the norm.
Let's spread out and get some answers then.
Ugh. Did you call to me just now?
Huh? No, I did not. I'm canonically mute most of the time. Unless someone actually asks something of me.
I must be a bit dizzy from the descent.
Oh.
I'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's get to work, shall we?
I just remembered what's... This is why I'm so happy about. I've literally only played through this once so far. So, I'm going to be seeing things that I don't remember. The east, you say? Oh. Erinville!
You're here to help or give me... you here to help or give me more headaches? Because you don't have the look of a gleaner. And I'm in no mood for idle chatter. One of my colleagues was so exhausted he took a tumble and crashed into a pile of crates. Now I have to pack up... Now I have a pack of marmots running loose.
Here's Erinville taught you about exhausted gleaners. Merchant? Wait, no, you're the mender. You're the junk monger? Let me get rid of these things. I don't necessarily need them right now, so I'm just kind of dropping it all. Plus, those aren't like the good levels. It's the fairy stuff. The fae things. You know, let me actually repair all this stuff because there might be things that I want to use as glam. This the Both mana trigger for one. Let me think. The rest seeds should be item 158. Cumin seeds 1058. Cumin seeds 1059. Snurbbleberry 160. Oh, were they 161? 1061. My head feels like it's stuffed with mako grass. Why more loads to take out than carry in? Why do all this at once and risk mixing it up? What if someone mistakes the Kurthian carrots for Girabania carrots? What then? The exchange with Thief taught you about the large shipment coming in and out of Labyrinthos.
You want to know what I'm doing? Holding books and ore and fauna. And it's hauling, I haul it. Every decade or so, they take stock in Labyrinthos, you know. Sort of tidy up the inventory. Never seen an operation like this before, though. We just did one a few summers ago, even. And then, no warning at all, this mess got dropped in our laps. Orders from on high, damned if I know the reason. Could be that they are changing the layout, eh? Preparing for the next big expansion. Your exchange with Dobbin has taught you about taking stock in Labyrinthos. Any luck, little? What tales did the gleaners have to tell? Boink, boink, boink. So, this grand operation began without warning. And for every item they bring in, they're sending more inventory somewhere else. Huh. That would explain the haggard faces I've been seeing. We were right, the Forum is definitely up to something. They're turning Labyrinthos upside down in the process. Alright. We will continue tomorrow. I am gonna go have some food. That person's on UFO. Let's go. Yes, I'm going to go have some food. We were only able to do 2, 3, 4, 5 quests today, which I do apologize for that. But that's 5 out of 108. So tomorrow we're gonna go into double digits, which isn't saying much, but still. Hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to finish off the Charlene quest chain, so long as I start on time. Because I was a little bit late today because I did shower beforehand and took care of some personal not feeling well things. And then that means Wednesday we can begin the Thavnerian quest chain. Hopefully do at least 5 on there. And then go to Crisis Core on Thursday and Friday. So yeah. Anyone who lurked or is watching this as a VOD, I do appreciate you very much. If you're watching this in the future, weeks or months or a year after it's been uploaded, thank you. I hope you're watching other content too of mine. Hope I'm still making content. I did realize recently that I'm about 6 months deep into this endeavor, which is very interesting because I started on August 1st and it didn't really click. So August, September, October, November, December, January, February now, right? So we just hit half a year of streaming Final Fantasy 14, which is amazing. But soon we will have other games to stream as well. Thursday is when we begin the rotation again of
Thursday, Friday being games separate from 14 to help try and grow and give those who don't watch 14 or are trying to protect themselves from spoilers an ability to sit and stream and relax and all those beautiful things. Now I am going to most likely try and do Puppet Bunker a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 runs if I'm lucky, but have food first. So take care, like and subscribe if you are new, lurking, or watching this as a VOD. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. So take care, love yourselves, have a lovely night, and peace and goodbye.